Hello and welcome to Blythe Ray Business News. For this edition, I'm joined by Richard Williams, who's Chief Executive of Cornish Metals. Cornish Metals listed on the AIM market in London in February 2021, last year, also listed on the Canadian TSXV market. You may remember as viewers that when Cornish Metals listed in London, it was very much a copper exploration play, but they always had the strategic asset of the South Crofty tin mine. Now, Richard, South Crofty, it's back in play. Since you last joined us, you've had a significant investment by Sir Mick Davies and his Blue Vision Resources. Mick Davies, known as Mick the Miner to those in the know, a formidable and well-known guy in the mining industry. You've completed a successful fundraise with his contributions. Tell us about the investment. Tell us about how Sir Mick's involvement came to be.
Well, I think there's, we always believed that tin had a very solid future when we acquired the project in 2016. There really aren't any primary tin mines in the Western world, certainly no primary tin mining in Europe or North America. So we always felt that the time would come when tin would shine, and I think it took some time for the investment community to realize how important tin is to really the energy transition. Anything to do with new technologies, anything with an electric connection has tin in it. And you may recall that Rio Tinto presented at a conference, a battery metals conference a few years back, where they looked at different technologies, ranging from 5G, computing, robotics, electric vehicles, power storage, power generation, and then looked at which metals we used in them and which metals would be most impacted by growth in those areas. And tin came top of the list. So what we've seen kind of during COVID and up to the present day is a very strong growth in the tin price, a realization from certainly governments around the world that it's very important to secure your own domestic supply of some of these materials where you can. And Mick Davies has formed a new fund called Vision Blue Resources, and they're looking at these metals that are important to the energy transition. And so we started talking to the Vision Blue guys kind of midway through last year, and they looked at the project. They liked the team that we've put together. They liked the quality of the asset. It's one of the few assets, if not the only asset, that's in the tin world that's actually permitted to go into production. It's high grade, it's underground, it's got a low or a small surface footprint, but ultimately has a very positive impact on the local community and the environment. So through that process, we reached an agreement for an investment, and we raised just over £40 million, which we announced earlier this week. And Vision Blue invested £25 million of that. So they are our biggest shareholder now. And we're all very excited for the next chapter in putting South Crofty hopefully back into production.
So you've got £40 million. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What are you going to do with it?
Well, the use of proceeds is obviously focused on moving South Crofty ahead as quickly as possible. We've always been clear that when the tin price was supportive and the market was there, that we would look to raise money for South Crofty, and now we're in that position. The first step for us is to build a water treatment plant, which commences right now, and we hope to get that built by the end of this year, Q1 next year. Following on from that, we will be starting a surface drill program to collect metallurgical samples for ore sorting test studies, paste backfill studies, and ore processing studies. So that will generate news on the tin assays front as we go forward. And then we will be dewatering the mine from Q1 next year. And we estimate that it will take us about 18 months to dewater the mine. And while that process is ongoing, we'll be undertaking a full feasibility study on the project. And the idea is over the next 2.5 years to complete the dewatering of the mine, to deliver a feasibility study, and then look at project financing to put the mine into production.
The mine was last in production in 1998. I think that's probably because it was one of the better tin mines in Cornwall. You've owned it since 2016. You've mentioned the tin price. You've alluded to the use of tin in consumer electronics, but just give us a bit more detail. What's been happening to the tin price? What's happening with consumer electronics? Why is this the time to be developing a tin mine?
Oh, there's so many factors. I could be here for a long time. I think what we saw during COVID is that a lot of people had to work from home, so they needed better connectivity, better Wi-Fi connections, better laptop computers. So we saw very strong growth in those sectors. At the same time, we've seen strong growth in governments around the world pushing towards achieving net zero. And part of that is building out the renewable power generation capacity, so wind turbines and solar panels. And what we've seen in the solar panel front is very strong growth in demand for what's called solar ribbon. It's the copper wire that connects all of the solar panels, and that wire is coated in tin. And I think as you see this build out of solar panel fields globally, that growth in solar ribbon is just going to continue to happen. At the same time, you've got existing mines which are seeing decreasing grades in the resource base. They don't have the capacity to increase production in most cases. So there's been a lack of investment into the tin world over the last 30, 40 years with the, at that time, oversupply of tin into the market. So, you're looking at reduced supply, growing demand, which really feeds into the growth in the tin price.
You're down there in South Crofty in Cornwall, between Camborne and Redruth. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but developing a mine of this size, what can it do for the local area?
Well, we published a preliminary economic assessment in 2017. That's been superseded by an increased mineral resource estimate that we published last year. But, just from a historical perspective, what we estimated in that PEA was that the project would create around 275 direct jobs at the mine site. These would be highly skilled, well-paid employment positions, which would really enhance the economic activity in that particular part of Cornwall. And typically in the mining world, you see a multiplier effect of anywhere from 3 to 6 additional jobs indirectly on the supply side. So, we see this as the start of what Cornwall can contribute from a minerals perspective, and it's what it can deliver to the UK economy for this energy transition, not just tin, but potentially lithium, copper, etc. So we see that this is a start, and I think Cornwall's got a very, very big role to play in that energy transition.
Well, fingers crossed, because hopefully exciting times at the South Crofty tin mine. But let's look at you've got something like 15,000 hectares of mineral rights in Cornwall. Included in that is your United Downs copper project. Let's not forget that, because you've made a very high grade discovery there. Give us a quick update on what's happening at United Downs.
We're actually still drilling there. Currently, we've got some news, assays still pending, so we'll publish them when they come out. What we've seen so far is, it's very interesting. There's obviously a lot of metal in that area, ranging from copper. We knew there was tin in the area. As we get deeper into the system, we see an increase in tin content. Some of the areas are higher grade in zinc, some have quite high grade silver. What we need to do once we complete this drill program is put all of the information together and see which areas have the best potential to build up a mineral resource that would complement what we have at South Crofty. And
finally, news flow is the lifeblood of businesses, especially on the AIM market. What should we be looking out for in the coming months in terms of news flow coming out of Cornish Metals?
Well, we've still got the remainder of drill results to come from the United Downs drill program. And as I mentioned earlier, we will have 2, maybe 3 rigs operating at South Crofty to collect samples for the metallurgical studies. These will be collected from areas within the mineral resource beneath the old mine. So it will be new information that we'll have, new assay data that will be published, and hopefully we'll start to see the new results from that coming towards the end of the summer. Well,
Richard, thanks for joining us. Good luck with the progress at the South Crofty tin mine, and come back and keep us informed. That was Richard Williams, Chief Executive of Cornish Metals. Cornish Metals trades on the AIM market and on the Toronto Venture market. On both markets, it has a symbol of CUSN, copper and tin. See what the man did there with that. And a market capitalization of around £68 million sterling. That's it from Blythe Ray Business News for this edition. Thanks for watching.